Hello and welcome to the Long Island Weather Update. It's 9:30 on February the 9th, 2024, and another day with sunshine. However, things are going to be changing. We're going to talk about it here for this weekend into next week. You can see, looking at the current satellite there, you can see there was looks like a little front of clouds there. We started off with like an overcast sky there, and then see it kind of cleared out there for a little bit. Then we had some more clouds kind of move in a little bit later on in the afternoon there. So anyway, let's look at our MODIS satellite. Where is it? Here it is. So here's our MODIS satellite. You can see again that like front of clouds that was through, and there's our storm that's finally starting to move away. That was responsible for the whole blocking pattern we've been in between that and the high. There. It almost looks like a front, but it really isn't. I don't think it really is a front. But let's just look at yesterday's sky as well. Yesterday we had started off with some clearer skies in the morning, and then we had some more high clouds later on in the day with contrails and jet chunk. But other than that, we'll look at what our highs and lows were for yesterday. So yesterday we had temperatures on Long Island. Low 50s for a lot of us. South Shore, a little cooler, upper 40s, mid 40s, East End, mid 50s in the city, and mid 50s also, even some maybe more like mid 50s around Toms River in Ocean County there. Looking at the lows, there was radiational cooling. This is again yesterday. 19 degrees at West Hampton, 25 at Shirley, 27 for a low at Islip. And it also got down to 21 in the Pine Barrens west of Toms River. So there was radiational cooling, except for the city, which was in the mid-30s. So showing you what it was like outside today. We did have some clear sky, and I did do a little visit to some pines, but I was pretty tired after 4 days of hiking. And then this is what it looked like at Argyle Lake. You can see the alto cumulus clouds there moving in, mixing with the sun. You can see a little more of it there, and here. Yeah, so there you go. This is what it looked like. So, we had some altocumulus there. Decent sea breeze. So looking at our current conditions outside right now, we still have that flood advisory. Still got a coastal flood advisory in effect, interestingly enough, and a coastal flood statement, I guess. Interesting. I guess from that storm, we're seeing a lot of this lately. Even when there is no storm and we're having fair weather, we're seeing this, which I don't even remember. But it's kind of weird. It's 41 right now at Islip, 41 in West Hampton, 45 at LaGuardia, and look at that. It's actually colder in New Jersey right now. It's 36 in the Pine Barrens west of Toms River there at Miller Air Park. It got all the way up to 59 today over there. But wow, it's dropped off a lot. I guess they're getting some radiational cooling. So I guess we'll look at our highs and lows for today. So our highs across Long Island, maybe a little bit cooler than yesterday. Around 50 degrees, still very much above normal. It was warmer out east though. The Forks, they were also upper 40s to around 50. And in New Jersey, yep. 59, just shy of 60, around 60 degrees in Jersey today. Very, very warm offshore. Looking at our lows, 24 at West Hampton, and Islip got down to 32. Upper 40s for the city, mid 30s for pretty much everywhere else. So we'll go to our climate statistics here. Look at Islip here for today. High of 49, low of 41. Our high was 9 degrees above normal. The low of 31 was 6 degrees above normal, putting us 8 degrees above normal for the day. And we're going to go and look at yesterday's now. And yesterday we got up to 51 at Islip. So yesterday was a little bit warmer at Islip. That's 11 degrees above normal. The low of 27. 3 degrees above normal, putting us 7 degrees above normal for the day. And we'll look at New Jersey again for today. Is that today, or is that? That is for today. So New Jersey was, look at that, 15 degrees above normal at Newark. That's insane. And Central Park got up to 55. And they were 14 degrees above normal for the day. So really, really very much above normal for the day. And yesterday, too, was above normal Looking at our weather map here, you'll see, yeah, that almost looked like a little bit of a warm front, I guess, that we saw move through with those clouds. Our high is now offshore. We're getting into that return flow, and soon enough, we're going to have to deal with this mess here. This is a cold front, and this is all these lows over here. And this cold front is going to move through tomorrow night and install to the south. So let's go over to the models next and talk about the weekend. So looking at the GFS here, this is the 18Z run of the GFS here, and the GFS has been pretty consistent with something next week. First for the weekend, though, you can see we're kind of in a return flow. Slight chance of rain tomorrow, and again, slight chance tomorrow night with this front. You can see it kind of gets stalled to the south. Maybe some rain over the mid-Atlantic, but we'll just have clouds from that. And then here's our low-pressure system that takes shape for next week here over on Monday here, and this slowly moves toward our area here over Pennsylvania. And then for some reason, the GFS wants to – we have a little high over here, but the GFS has been consistently trying to bring a snow event to our area that would be literally almost right on the line for rain and snow. So it's very hard to predict. Too early to tell. Too early to even throw out numbers at this point. A lot of people are already hyping this up, of course, even though we don't really have enough information to say exactly what's going to happen. I think if you're north of the city, that's where your best chances of getting a major snowstorm. The coast and south, really, I'm not so sure. And you can see the low it has it shifted a little south and then kind of puts us into the heavy snow toward the tail end of it on Tuesday before it moves out. And GFS has been consistent with this, but the other models are not showing this at all. But first, let's talk about the weekend and what we're going to see this weekend. So we'll go over to the HRRR for that. So this is the HRRR, and you'll see there could actually even be some thunderstorms upstate, showers and thunderstorms, but most of that shower activity is upstate. But it could come through around maybe in the evening. It looks like it's bringing a shower or two through in the evening with this cold front that's going to come on through. And then that cold front stalls to the south, and then we have, again, the showers that are going to be over the mid-Atlantic, but we won't see it. So better chance for rain probably tomorrow night, and whatever rain we get won't last very long. It's just a quick shower that's going to wind up coming through with this cold front. So let's look at the dew points and wind flow here, and you'll see here. So there's not a lot of moisture to work with. So you can see we got a southwest wind. There's a little bit of an increase of moisture right ahead of that cold front, so that might help contribute to a shower or two. And then the wind shift from the southwest to the northwest. And then Sunday we have northwesterly winds. Again, that's going to bring us cooler temperatures with the northwesterly winds. You can see the drop in the dew points there. Looking at our temperatures here, it's going to be another really warm day tomorrow. In fact, we could get close to, the HRRR thinks it could get close to 70 in New Jersey tomorrow. So there's going to be more heat in the atmosphere with this front that comes on through, which is going to definitely make it interesting to see what happens. For us here on Long Island, the western parts of Long Island, like especially central, I think we're going to get into the 60s. I think we're going to definitely going to be warmer tomorrow than today. 60 to 65, probably a good bet. If you're on the South Shore on the East End, that's where you'll be cooler. But again, you note the wind flow here got more of a westerly component to it, southwesterly wind versus the southerly wind we had today. So that means that it's going to be warmer tomorrow for sure. And even though we'll have the clouds around, it's going to be a lot warmer tomorrow. And then when the cold front comes through, it's still going to be in the 50s. It's not really going to start really cooling off until we get toward after midnight, where we'll go back into the 40s and maybe some upper 30s. And then Sunday will wind up being cooler, but still above normal. Probably highs in the mid to upper 40s, probably still above normal. But tomorrow the HRRR seems to think it's going to be quite a warm day tomorrow. At least that's what the HRRR seems to think at this point. And if we look at the soundings here, there's going to be a decent amount of cloud cover around, but it still could get, it's mostly of the higher. I still think we're going to see some sunshine tomorrow mixed with those clouds. So we're going to see some pretty warm conditions, I think, tomorrow. It'll be very warm. Probably we have potential to break records tomorrow, I think. At least this is what the HRRR seems to think. So you can see a little bit of that orange. That's getting close to 70 degrees right there. So it could be, especially if you're in Jersey. That to get down again with the southwesterly wind, I think could be just as warm here. You really want to be on the South Shore for the cooler temperatures, or out east. Another reason why I hate living in central Nassau. It's like living in Jersey as it is. But we'll look at some other models. Let's go look at the GFS next. GFS not quite as bullish on those temperatures. Probably has thicker cloud cover. All right, but I think the GFS is underestimating the warmth. And this is what I think is going on. So this is the GFS showing. Let's look at the icon. Icon not really showing that kind of warmth either. So icon is not showing it. What about the NAM model? Probably not the NAM. The NAM is showing a little bit of it. And depending on how warm it gets tomorrow, it could be a factor in what's going to happen later in the week. So looking at the GFS, moving the GFS along, you'll see the cold front comes through. It's still going to be mild on Sunday and Monday too, upper 40s to around 50. But then this storm comes through, and you can see the reflection of it here. The temperatures are very marginal. The below freezing temperatures are mainly north of the city, and you have that what you call dynamic roll that that you're going to have. But behind the storm, we will get colder, and it will get a lot colder. Wednesday is going to be, your Valentine's Day is going to be pretty chilly. All right, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about the storm, but we have to talk about it because it is the elephant in the room. So this is the GFS run here, and it's been pretty consistent with this track. Kind of starting it out as rain, and then as the storm gets cranking, it pulls down some cold air and changes things over to heavy snow at the latter part of the storm. All right, and then it kind of goes back to rain again. So this is going to be kind of a dynamic type of event. This is what the GFS is saying. All right, I'm not really completely buying this, by the way. All right, this kind of looks weird to me. All right, but it moves away, and if you look at the snowfall accumulations on this map here, you'll see that it gives the island about 6 to 8 inches, and further south it drops off pretty quick. But this is, again, highly subject to change. We can also look at the radar simulation on this, too, which we're going to run this, too, as well, because the radar looks a little different, and I kind of like this better. So it shows the heavy rain, and then toward the end, you might get a burst of snow toward the end in the afternoon, and then it's over by the evening. But this is during the day, you're already dealing with sun angles. It has to come down heavy, and you have to get the temperature down just low enough to get this to happen. All right? So I'm skeptical, especially when we have a lot of other models that are not falling in line with this. The GFS has been very consistent, run after run after run after run with this storm. So the 12Z, the 0Z from yesterday. 0Z was a little further south. So you can see it's come north. It's come north a little bit, and I think it's going to be more of a northward trend with this. So now let's go look at the icon model. That'll be the next model we're going to look at here. So the icon, you see it's further north. So the icon may have been a little too far north, but the icon has the rain and then ending possibly as a little snow. It wouldn't be much, all right? If we looked at the icon snowfall map here, you see it's barely anything, maybe an inch or two for the island. We go over to the European model, which doesn't display precipitation type. This is the 18Z run of the Euro, which doesn't give us enough, so we need the 12Z run. The Euro was a little north, now it's come a little south, and it's showing, again, there's that 540 line 12Z, and then toward the end is when it would bring that changeover. Right, toward the end, it would bring that change over. But again, it's so subject to change, and I'm just not convinced. Either way, it's going to be a mix. This isn't going to be an all-snow event for us. It'll be a mix, and maybe in the latter part of, if you want to see the snow, it would probably be the latter part of this storm that we get, this snow. We will actually go ahead and look at the Canadian as well, just to show you every single Canadian really far to the south. I'm not even giving up. This seems to be you see how the miles are kind of all over the place at this point. So it's too early to tell what's going to happen at this point. I'm very skeptical, all right? And the reason why, again, if we pull this out and we go to the eastern U.S., Actually, let's go to the North American view. Let's go all the way to the North American view, and I'm going to look at the GFS again. All right. All right. We'll take this and we'll put this back to the P-type. You have a high over here, all right, but it's weak. It's not strong. You want the high to be like more over here, over eastern Canada. It's not in the right spot. So that's why I'm skeptical. For all these people pounding there, beating the drum about a big snowstorm on Tuesday, I don't think it's going to happen. We may see some snowfall accumulation, but I see it as being more of a mix event if we do see any snow at all. It could be very little, but it's too early to tell. I'm not going to write it off. I'm not going to say we're not going to get any snowfall accumulation. It's possible we'll see some, but I don't think it's going to be a huge amount. Not here. Not on Long Island. Not at the coast. Not despite looking at this and people getting all excited. I just don't see it. So let's at least not right now. Things could change, but right now I don't see it, and that's all I'm going to talk about right now. You'll hear me talk more about this storm on Sunday night. So let's go back to look at the skies next. I guess we'll go to the GFS, and we'll go and look at the skies. Obviously, with that front in the vicinity, we will have plenty of clouds around. It's showing plenty of clouds, so unfortunately, we won't have that much sun for the weekend. We'll look at the RGM first for skies. So this is the RGM. Starts off with a little more sun. You'll see more thickening high clouds tomorrow. I have that cold front. And then that front kind of gets stalled to the south, so we'll be dealing with the clouds on Sunday from that stalled front, and they're just gonna linger around. Monday, we might, if the RGM was correct, because it is the Canadian, you might get a decent amount of sun on Monday, perhaps less sun to the south. But this is the RGM, and I don't know if it's going to be that far to the south or not. Kind of hard to say because it's being a little stronger with that high, which, again, if we look at some of the other models, we don't see that at all. This is the 0Z NAM, which, well, this covers the whole weekend, so I can kind of look at this too as well. So this is the NAM. You can see plenty of clouds pretty much around. There'll be plenty of clouds this weekend, so don't expect to see much blue sky, but we were definitely spoiled this past week with that. We can also look at the NAM 12 0Z run. I actually have a decent amount of it in, so this might show some of that storm. So first of all, here's your cold front. NAM's not too bullish on that cold front. HRRR is more excited about that. This is the NAM, and this is all we've got so far. That's it. That's as far as it goes. So without really getting the short-range models in, it's really hard to tell exactly what's going to happen. And the NAM is actually much further south with this low-pressure center. So that's the NAM, and then I could look at the RGM, which we don't usually use for this, but we can also look at the RGM. That's as far out as we've got on the RGM. So, again, with the storm, very, very hard to tell at this point. And I'll talk more about that on Sunday night, I think. So let's go to the Ventu sky side, and we'll just go ahead and we'll visualize tomorrow's heat because it's going to be a warm one tomorrow. So here you go. Yeah, look at that. It's showing. It's all it's showing. I think it could be warmer than that. But you'll see. Yeah, you see that southwesterly flow. It doesn't even have much of a sea breeze on Long Island. So it's going to be warm. You can probably leave the jacket at home tomorrow for much of the day. It's going to be that warm out, I think. Yeah, I think so. 60s. Like I said, I can't rule out a 70 degree, but I think most of us are going to see 60s tomorrow for sure. All right. Now, if we want to go and look at, I think this actually has a snowfall map. I don't know if it does. No, it doesn't. All right, this doesn't do a snowfall map. Oh, snow cover. Well, you could use the snow cover map. So we can move this over to Wednesday and see what this is using the icon model. See, the icon has barely anything. But let's see. Let's do a GFS, or this is actually the GFS output. The GFS isn't even showing much. So the temperatures are borderline. Don't get all excited over it, all right? A lot of people are going to hype this up, you know, and that nothing pisses me off more than when people hype up storms that I just don't think are going to be a big deal. We'll go to windy.com and look at the European as well for this, and the European, it only gives us, I think, out to a certain amount here, and these snowfall maps are really subject to change. This is the European. It doesn't really give us much here, all right? Barely anything, all right? So this is the European. The more higher amounts would be further north. European. This is the GFS. So this, well, I don't know. The other site wasn't working. This is the GFS showing us the higher amounts. All right. And I bet a lot of people out there are showing those pivotal weather maps, and I don't use pivotal weather for that reason, because they blow it way out of proportion most of the time. So, but if the GFS and the Euro don't agree, we don't have a track. The temperatures are very borderline, and again, if we look and visualize the temperatures here on the European model for that day, for Tuesday at 1 p.m., we'll pick Tuesday at 1 p.m. We're in the mid 30s. We're above freezing. So. And especially Jersey, you're in the 40s, all right? So very, very hard to get a decent snowfall event with these temperatures. I mean, it may snow, but it may not stick at these temperatures. And the thing is, the day before, we've been above freezing. It's not like we're going below freezing at all. We're not going to drop below freezing maybe for a little bit Tuesday morning, maybe a little bit. The timing of the Euro is different, so I think this is part of the issue. So this is where the Euro is bringing in the colder temperatures, all right? Like, way too much time on this. GFS, this is the GFS, which is the model that it's still got mid-30s. I'm not convinced. So, anyway, I think I've put in more than my 2 cents. I've put in way more than my 2 cents on this storm. But the deal is for tomorrow, at least, and I'm going to go back to Vent to Sky. We'll show the cloud cover for tomorrow, because this does give us the HRRR cloud cover output, and you'll see plenty of cloud cover tomorrow, but it still gets us up there, so it's going to be a warm one tomorrow, but one thing's for sure, either way, it's going to get colder by next week, so we'll be done with this and get back to some more winter-type air masses. So that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update. Have a good night.